There aren't many things that are so powerful that they will literally stop you from ever achieving a goal, but I do think there is one thing that can stop you from ever learning a language, and it's such a bad thing that it actually goes outside of language learning, and it has the capacity to stop you from achieving a lot of different goals. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the one thing that can stop you from learning a language and stops a lot of people. And if you like this kind of content, definitely hit the subscribe button. I've also got a bonus at the end, so make sure you stick around. Here is the situation at the moment. Here's you on the left. Here is the goal, which is to speak whatever language. It could be Danish, it doesn't matter, whatever language you're learning. And obviously in the middle, you're attempting to learn the language. That's how you go from here to here. Unfortunately, as with any kind of long-term goal, you're going to encounter obstacles. Sometimes you're not going to feel like language learning. You might have difficulty understanding verb conjugation. The grammar might be difficult. You might not be able to memorize words, etc. There's an endless number of obstacles that you could encounter when it comes to language learning. Here is the actual problem though. The problem is that you don't understand language learning equals problem solving. Whenever you're making progress in any difficult thing, whether it's language learning or the gym or anything like that, you're trying to achieve a big goal, and that big goal is effectively solving the problem of the present. So if your goal is to be able to speak a language, the problem you're solving is the fact that you can't speak it right now. If your goal is to get fit, the problem you're solving is the fact that you're not fit right now. Can you kind of see what I'm getting at? And what a lot of people don't understand is you're not just solving the problem, which is the absence of the goal right now, but you're also solving many little problems along the way. So for example, every time you don't feel like language learning, every time you encounter words that you don't understand, every time you encounter grammar that's difficult, these are little problems that you need to solve in order to solve the big problem and achieve the goal you want. These are the problems path the way to success effectively. So what a lot of people do whenever they encounter any kind of obstacle or frustration is they immediately get frustrated. And I completely understand that. It's annoying when you encounter a particularly difficult problem. I remember when I was learning Italian, and this will be relatable for anyone else that has learned Italian from English, trying to understand clitic pronouns I found extremely frustrating. And it was my own fault because I didn't do enough time trying to study it. And obviously I seem to understand how to use them, but it was completely unfamiliar to me as an English speaker. And I remember getting so angry and trying to rope learn things and just being frustrated that I just couldn't understand, etc. And the reason for that was because I was in victim mode. I was getting very emotional instead of actually solving the problem. What you need to do is to go immediately whenever you encounter anything, I want you to actually tell yourself, I'm going into problem solving mode now. I'm not going to get frustrated. I'm not going to get emotional that I don't understand this. I'm immediately going to go into problem solving mode because this is the best thing I can do to achieve my long-term goal. So I want to give you guys an analogy. Imagine you're a miner for a second and you're mining for precious stones. When you pull a precious stone out of the ground, like a diamond or a ruby or whatever, what's it going to look like? Is it going to look like a polished, nice gem that you'd see in a museum or an art exhibit or a rich person's house? I don't know, something like that. Or is it going to be dirty like a piece of rock that's got some glitter inside of it? It's obviously going to be the second one, right? It's not going to be a polished diamond. When you get angry that you don't understand something in a foreign language, it's kind of like a miner pulling out a piece of rock from the ground that's got a bunch of diamonds in it and then getting angry and throwing it back in the ground because it's not a full diamond. It's so stupid and silly and just emotional to behave like this because you shouldn't expect to pull diamonds polished out of the ground. You shouldn't expect to understand everything in the foreign language you're learning because you have no right to. You've never learnt the language before. You don't speak the language. Of course, you're not going to pull diamonds that are polished out of the ground. You're going to encounter obstacles, and this is kind of like encountering uncut gems. And what you need to do is the same as what the miner needs to do, which is refine the gem, turn the uncut gem into a diamond. You probably don't find it that difficult to say hello, goodbye in the language you're learning at the moment because you've refined that gem. You pulled that out of the ground, you didn't understand what it was, and you refined it and polished it, and now you have that gem, which means the gem is effectively an analogy for the fact that you understand how to use greetings like hello and goodbye in the foreign language you're learning because it's not that difficult. So here's what I want you to do to start being a problem solver and to stop being emotional and to actually make progress in the language you're learning. The first thing I want you to do is to set a short-term goal. So you probably have a long-term goal, learn Italian in a year, something like that. Fantastic, that's great. But a lot of people don't have short-term goals, and that is it's a really, really bad and quite honestly stupid thing to do that I've done as well. So an example of a short-term goal would be each week you set a specific goal. It could be learning articles in the foreign language. It could be learning future tense. It could be learning case, whatever you want. It could be a specific vocab group. It could be focusing on speaking or listening. Just set some kind of short-term goal that you can focus on for that week, and this will give you a little bit more direction rather than just having one enormous goal that you're trying to go towards. Have an actual specific goal. The second thing I think you should do is plan how to actually improve. So when you encounter a problem, watch a video on that problem. You can also, if the problem is word related, you can use flashcards, writing practice, etc. Figure out as soon as you figure out what the problem is, make it your short-term goal. That's number one. And number two, the second thing you need to do is to figure out how to improve it. So if the problem is that you don't understand animal-related vocab, you can't remember it, you just see the words and you can't remember what they mean, you can make that your short-term goal for this week, and you can make a plan of how to improve. So for example, you're going to do flashcards every single day, and you're going to try and write out all of the words, as many as you can from memory on a page like that. And the third thing is what I just said, which is to do something on it every single day. I've written if possible. I don't think it is impossible for really anyone to do nothing some days. I think you can do 5 minutes of language learning studying, even if it's a bloody Duolingo lesson. I think doing something every single day is super good for consistency, and it actually makes you feel as if you are making progress. So that is how I recommend you start being a problem solver. I want you to understand that you make progress by conquering problems. Every single problem you conquer is a skill you've acquired in the foreign language, and it brings you one step closer to fluency. And if you actually want to become proficient in the language you're learning, I'd highly, highly recommend you check out the Language Learning Accelerator. It's my course that I've got linked in the description, and I work one-on-one with my students to make sure they get success, and if they don't, I completely refund them. And yeah, so if you did stick around to the end, I've got a bonus tip for you, which is to journal to problem solve. So whenever you encounter a problem at all, I'd recommend not just thinking about it, I recommend actually journaling on the problem to discover it. And the reason is because when you journal on problems, it's so much easier to find solutions than if you're just thinking about stuff. Just trust me on that one. So I'd recommend you can journal once a week if you want, every single Sunday at the end of the week, to reflect on what went well that week and what didn't go well. That's what I personally do. And you can journal whenever you want as well. It's just good overall. So yeah, definitely hit the subscribe button, guys, if you do like this kind of content, because it makes me feel better about all the work I put in to help you. And good luck. Thank you for watching.